Hello, everyone. Glad to be back again at the user group. I chose this topic because I find that in the last few weeks, I did had the luck, if I can call it for such, to be back again working with some SSIS cubes. So this is where I really took advantage of some of the features. Now, compared to other sessions that we had on the user group, this one has an introduction slide about myself. So in my day-to-day life, I do help clients. I'm whatever you want to call it, an architect, a developer, a consultant, a trainer, whatever the project requires. Mainly on the Power BI space. Now, Sue mentioned that sometimes I do like to also tinker with Power Automate. I find that in conjunction with the whole Power BI ecosystem, this can actually drive actions. And as a passion, since we learned it from the last Romania Power BI user group when I'm a co-host, I do have a hobby that I developed lately in terms of 3D printing. Before that, I did started to try to fly drones. I'm still not here where I would like to be if I compare it to some YouTube videos, but I'm getting there. And I'm a huge fan of Formula 1, besides what we call in Europe football. That's not mentioned there. Now, so that we set the grounds of what we are going to do today is we are going to just do an intro. I'm going to spend the time a bit at the beginning during the intro to also explain what TMDL is and the PBIP project file type. Then we're going to speak about briefly on some benefit and limitations, and then we are just going to go into use cases. This being said, since I do have visibility on the chat, who is familiar with the Power BI project file type? You can raise your hand, put it in the chat. Okay. Okay. Good. So before we go into the actual TMDL view, let's understand a bit the switch that happened, because if we would have came, I think 4 years ago or 3 years ago, we would have spoken about the tabular model scripting language, which was JSON-based. It was, I would call it nicely, not really that user-friendly, and whoever works with JSON structures knows that it's ugly, especially when it starts changing the structure. So that's why Microsoft did work in introducing the Tabular Model Definition Language, which is, as the slide is also mentioning, a YAML style, like much more friendlier also for CI/CD, and that's a very important part. And then again, I personally find it much more easier to structure. Now, I did prepare before we go into the actual TMDL view. Let me just go and find it where I did it. In case not, we are just going to do it again. So that is one. Let me just make it small. We'll put it here on the left side, and let's take the other one as well. So on the left side, I do have the Power BI project file type without the TMDL structure activated as a preview feature. On the right side, I do have it with activated. So whenever we use the Power BI project file type and we don't activate the TMDL, we are still going to save it with the old structure of the TMDL. And that's why if I zoom in a bit, we do have the model.bim, which will contain everything. In comparison to that, I don't have any kind of BIM file in here. But if I would go into the definition folder, I'll see that for each respective component, I do have a separated folder. And if I'm going to also open it up, I see that, for example, for each table, I do have its own file. So with this being in mind, from the structure and structuring standpoint, that's what makes the difference. But for what we are interested in the session today is this TMDL structure is the one that provides us this whole scripting language. This is not something new. Scripting was there in Tabular Editor, even before, even Tabular Editor 2, Tabular Editor 3, since TMDL is there, and even, I think even before that. But now we can actually do it out of the box in Power BI, which is a huge difference for the people who don't have access to the external tools. I do know a client or two that are crazy enough that when you ask for an external tool, they are going to say, yeah, but we need to review it. This might take 3-4 months for you to get it. Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah. Again, on the structure, so we have the Power BI project file, we have the semantic model. I've especially not looked into the report layer because I'm not going to talk about the enhanced PBR format, even though I've not been able to test it, but I understood that by reading the latest blog update, they should have fixed some of the major bugs that we had there. So again, exactly what we have seen in the folder, we have the semantic model, and then we have the whole definitions that fall down. Now, why does it help? It helps us because, one, scripting some of the things, and like we are going to do today, makes it much more easier. The moment we script or do perform updates, we don't need to commit each and every single change. If I would go into the report view and change a measure or update something, at each update that's going to commit against the model. I have the possibility to expand and collapse, so that's also something good. And I personally find it, in some of the cases, a really faster development workflow. An important note, whenever you create a script or whenever you save it, you save your Power BI file, same as for the DirectQuery view, and you've seen it in the folder. The TMDL views are also going to be saved. They are only going to exist in the Power BI desktop file. So the moment you publish it and you download the file again, they are not going to be there. But as long as you still have access to the Power BI desktop file that you worked inside, that's going to be there. So let's get the party started. How do we activate it? So first, the first two options that we talked about, and as a note, an important note, the TMDL view is going to work even if I would not activate the Power BI project file. The main option that we need to activate from the preview feature is the actual TMDL view, first and foremost. And what I marked as a stay away still for now is the enhanced metadata format, the PBIR. Personally, I would stay away. Also keep in mind that both the TMDL view and the Power BI project file, as long as I'm not wrong, and somebody in the chat can correct me if I am, it's still a preview feature. Now, we are not just going there yet. So let's see what we do. I did activate it. Because I activate the preview feature, we have the new icon in here, TMDL. For starters, let's right click on the facts table. We only want to script this specific table. The moment we have done this, this is scripting the full context of it. So you see that we do have the structure like we're saying. If I'm going to go to the table level, I do have the expand and collapse functionalities. You see them here. If I want to close it, I can expand it back. And then what is important to be noted is the indentation. The moment I do a mistake on the indentation, that's going to trigger an error, as you can see. The good side is the moment you have an error and you hover the mouse over it, it's going to show us why. And let's see, quick fix. And I don't know what it did, but it definitely didn't do what it was supposed to. So let's put back the indentation. The indentation is important. One small mistake in the indentation, and you are not going to be able to commit to apply the changes. Now, first and foremost, we have the measure. So what can I do about it? I don't have this display folders right now, so that's something important. If I would like to see what properties there are, let's say I want to play with the display folders for both total cost and total sales, but I don't want to do it individually. I can press the Alt key again here and here. I'll press Enter. I moved into a multi-cursor. If I'm going to type, I do have the IntelliSense in terms of the properties from TMDL. We are going to speak about limitations because there is a limitation. We don't have ducks in IntelliSense. So let's call them sales. Good, I'm done. I've not yet applied the change. So what I could do now is preview the change. And if you keep on scrolling, since I did do it completely, I could see a preview of what was actually changed the moment I'm going to reach it, if I didn't jump over it. So that would be a side-by-side comparison of what we had versus what we have now. Another important, I would say, okay, didn't thought about actually applying it initially for the delta. Another important shortcut that I do like is the possibility to copy a measure. So let's say I'm going to copy this one completely. Shift Alt and down arrow, and this copied the measure. Now, of course, I do have some errors because the name is the same. First and foremost, let's say we are going to multiply that by 1.5. And I do have this issue with the lineage tag. Lineage tag is the unique identifier of an object in the model. In the same semantic model, no object can have a duplicated lineage tag. But if I'm going to hover my mouse over it, I see that it tells me that it found a duplicate. Let's see what happens. We can replace it, and it replaced my lineage tag. That's an important aspect to take into account because there is a small possibility without copying like I just did, the measure to have the same lineage tag, but still the possibility is not zero. And Jack has a very good point. I can leave it out. Yes, we are also going to see when we copy a table completely, how we can just remove directly all the lineage tags, because if I just remove it completely from here, the moment we are going to apply it, it is going to regenerate it. Good. Any questions so far?
I think we're all just watching, completely concentrating. So
okay.
Yeah. So because I haven't seen this I haven't played with it at all. So yeah, we are in all JP. So we're all just watching it. Can you, being very selfish, can you show me how you selected both of those things again? I missed how you selected both. You did a shortcut. Yeah, the shortcut so that you could work out which ones you want. Yeah, when you do the display folder for both measures.
Yeah. So first, I'm with my mouse cursor on the first place that I would like to. I do also want to have it here, so I'm going to press the Alt icon, the Alt keyboard. And then the moment I press Enter, I am in a multi-cursor.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, both Christys.
Also, for all the people that are part of it, the presentation is then going to also be saved on the GitHub. There is a slide with certain shortcuts that I find very useful there as well.
Brilliant. Because sometimes it takes me more brain power to remember the shortcuts than to use them. So brilliant.
There's actually a lot of them. So if I am going to open up the command palette, there's a pretty important list of them. But I think there are like 5 or 6 that I constantly use.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
Good. Now, let's first apply this change, see if it didn't mess something up. We didn't. You can also cross-check our fact sales. You see that it created a subfolder, and it also worked much more faster than a normal commit. Now, first things first, I do see that I have these 2 tables which have the dim and fact nomenclature. I would like to change that. So what I can do is Control H. That's also going to open up the find and replace. We're going to play a bit with the regex, even though I'm definitely not an expert at this. So let's say we want to replace the dim, and we also want to replace the fact. The brilliant part is the moment we do the replace, it's also going to do it in all the places where this is being used. So if I have measures that were referenced in the table, I know that they are not going to break. Or at least I hope so. Peter, to your question, no, I was never even curious on how many shortcuts there are. I don't even think that all of them have a command palette shortcut yet. Let's commit it again. So because let's see what we changed a bit. We have a Lineage tag issue. Okay, interesting. Good part is we can look for it. So same as we opened up the Control H, we can also open up the Control F. We have it here once. And then let's see where else we have it. We don't have somebody somewhere else, so let's just remove it. Now the demo gods hit me again. Interesting. Okay, that is nice. Actually, you know what? We are going to do something else. I'm just going to close this one, and I'm just going to open up the scripting again. Let's apply the change first. Let's try the same thing again. Control H. The option is turned on. We're just going to replace it. And I did it wrong. Again, dim. And the OR function plus the fact. We are going to replace all the Spaces. Let's compare it so that we know if you have the error, and we still have the error. That is interesting.
This is really, really helpful because
yeah,
well, you're trying to create table. You're creating columns with the same lineage tags in the same model.
Correct, but it should just update it, right? It's create or replace. The table already exists, so yes, you're right. You are right.
But I mean, I know it's the demo gods giving you. You carry on. I'm just talking over you. I'm keeping everyone entertained while we watch you. In my view. But I learned so much because when you see a presentation that goes completely smoothly, I always make mistakes when I'm learning. So to see how you replace, sorry, Jake, go on.
You can do a regex search for lineage tag star and just delete them all.
Ah.
And actually, this was what it was supposed to do, right?
But if you do it for just if you type in lineage tag.
Let's do something else. Yeah, okay. Let me do something so that we'll actually do the regex first. Like Jake was mentioning it. So we are not going to rename them. Now we are first going to remove all the lineage tags that we have. So for this, let me first go a bit back to the slides. That's the statement you were seeing before. You also have it here. It's interesting. Jake, you have any idea what I did wrong?
I think renaming tables is a pain.
Can you just go back to the start?
I think if you're renaming table, you have to do it on the entire model view. You can't just do it with the individual table. So if you pulled the entire if you went to on the right hand side from tables to model, pulled the entire model in, then I think it does allow you to replace tables. It doesn't work just when the table's there.
That's worth trying. So in order for us to script up in a entire model, what we can do is on the model, I'm right here on the second tab. Let's right click it, script tab. What this just did is we now have the entire model scripted. So as you can see it here, we have each and every, let's just close this one, and then dim table, fact table. So this scripted the whole model, including all the aspects and attributes that you see right here. So this being said, we can try it out again. Let's see how lucky we are. Yes, we are. So nice. I also learned something new. So let's do the same. The dimension, even though we could have done it directly. Again, we can apply it. Good. So new thing learned today. If we want to do it, we'll need to do the whole model. Interesting?
That makes sense. I guess will it affect all the relationships and everything as well if you do it on the model?
But I think it's because it thinks you're creating a new table when you do it with just the table. When it's in the model, it has the context to know that you're doing a replace.
Yeah.
Can be. Because we did not have the model, so you might be right.
That's fascinating. It's brilliant. Thank you, Christy. And I know what it's like when it goes wrong and you've got people watching you. There is nothing but love for you in the chat.
But now let's also try regex so that we know if you're going to have troubles moving on or not. And yes, we do. I'm just going to quickly look at it later. But now that we applied it, so we changed the table names, we do have these two little notifications in here. We changed it. So now I will also need to refresh it. You can see it similarly to what would happen if I would perform a change in Power Query. So again, I would actually need to commit the changes. Until this one will want to evaluate, let me just check something.
So I have a question where you're working.
Yeah, please.
Are you all with so when you're making these changes, because it occurs to me, and I haven't used it, so I am being very very beginner. I'm a noob. So yeah, worth pressing the preview. Is there a way you could? Is it like with Git where you can see and you can revert back to any step, or is it once you've applied it, or because I like practicing and playing. You can't do Control-Z. Yeah.
So the moment you apply the changes, that's bad.
So press preview and then only apply when you are
correct.
Yeah. And have a backup.
Before that, the undo and redo buttons, they do work.
Yeah.
So just be careful whenever you want to press the play button. It's the same thing that we also have for the DirectQuery review. Also there we have the little notifications saying that once you apply it, it's irreversible.
So if you save it and commit it, then you've got each layer as you're building up your development.
Yep.
Cool.
And Jake has a very good point. Whenever you want to commit, just save it before. Yes.
Save and commit. And then you've got your layer of, right, I'm saving it, I'm committing it, then you apply. So if it goes wrong, you can go back to that commit.
Correct. Good. And we also fixed the lineage. Somebody wanted to see something. Or not? Always save before fighting a boss. Good one. Now let's also look at the use case. Actually, two use cases that I do really like. So, first use case that I found very useful for the TMDL comes from the calendar creation. So I was personally a very big fan, and I am, of creating the calendar in Power Query. I was a fan of the Enterprise DNA calendar. Now, that one was a custom function that I would need to invoke. We can also tweak it up a bit, then save the script after removing the lineage tags. So let's do that. We remove the lineage tags. I could copy this one and just save it somewhere. Why this is amazing? And let me see if I do find the quarter number. No, quarter in here. Exactly. This helps because whenever we were invoking the function for the first time, we would have created the calendar, then we would have needed to take care of the custom sortings of quarters, of months. This is already done. So as you can see right here, we do have this property which tells us the sort by column is the quarter in year. So this kind of properties that would have been changed from the report side are also being saved. So that's one of the examples on how can I gain efficiency in my workflow. But at the same time, I could also just go directly, and let's say we do have a second file. And let's go into the TMDL view in here. The product. So let's say we want this one. I could just come inside of here so that I don't redo something that I've done in another file, for example, copy it, just go back, paste it, and remove the Lineage tags. The amazing side comes from the fact that, okay, in any case, I would need to remove the Lineage tags again so that I make sure that I don't have duplicates. But like this, I just brought in a dimension table that was already existing in another file, including the transformation. Because if I'm going to just scroll down all the way down in here, and we had this discussion in the chat at the beginning, we do have the source. So that's the full Power Query code that we have.
Oh,
With the
brilliant.
note that it doesn't have IntelliSense. So be careful on what you are actually changing. And you might ask why we have this properties. Those are because we use a multi-line code in here.
Mm.
Without this, it would trigger an error because we have multi-lines. So we open it up here, and exactly, and then we are just closing it at the bottom. This is true for both code that's written in Power Query inside of here, but also if I would have a DAX measure written on multi-lines. Now, this being said, which is the part that I might have missed from the chat. I see we also have the discussion on the TMDL gallery. Yes, I do find it also amazing. And not only that gallery, all the items that we have there are really nice.
It's a bit of a game changer, really, isn't it? I don't use that word very often, but it's quite phenomenal. And you're using this in production?
I try to stay away from large models,
Mm-hmm.
but on smaller ones, yes, I did. And there is one important note that, and as an update that was done in the last update of Power BI Desktop. So I have this column name. That's the actual display name that we have in the model. That's the source column name that's coming from Power Query. Before the latest update, we did have an issue with the fact that if I would have renamed this column as a display name, I would have committed it. It would have looked good until the next refresh. Then it would have reverted back to the original name. With the latest update, this was actually fixed. So that's an important update that happened last month during the latest version. Now, you ready for more?
Can I just ask a quick question Peter's raised? So with the date table, there's the variables for the start and the end date. Mm-hmm. Is there a way, where would you add? I mean, you can obviously hard code it in, but can you add parameters in there or variables in there?
Yes.
Okay.
So normally this is something that I would replace through something like a list.max.
Yeah.
And this would be a list.min coming from a table where I know I want to base my calendar on.
Yeah.
So yes, totally. I just kept it live like this because I wouldn't want to create references to some attributes that will not exist.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Thank you. Oh, you're late to a good one, Oliver.
And the point that Jake mentioned, that's very right. The moment we change just the column name in here, it's not going to also add a step in Power Query. That's how I did start it because I need to find a way to import some data from an MDX cube with the support of actually writing a MDX. And I did want to avoid any kind of possible additional steps. Now,
Yes,
take
go
it
on.
up a notch a bit.
Should have warned me. I would have had coffee instead of herbal tea before this one.
Oh well. There was something that we had a hard time before, and that was switching back and forth between import and DirectQuery. So if we wanted to do it back and forth, at some point we would have recreated the model like we all know. This is now an attribute that we can alter. So if I go here to the mode and I will change it to DirectQuery, we could apply it, and then I could actually, let's do it. If it's going to let us, but no, because we had the other error. And I also didn't script the whole model. I only scripted this one. So, but I would be able to change it and then push it back to import, and this would work. One of the other attributes that can be changed, but which we shouldn't change for now, according to Rui, is the partitioning. So while we could change the partitions, I think he had the live stream on Reed Havens in which he mentioned that while this is working, we shouldn't tamper with it for now. I guess they do know something around some bugs, so keep that in mind. Now, I think we have two more things that we can discuss. And I'm going to start with the first one, which are the perspectives. Until now, perspectives were something that we could have created in order to limit the view of the data, meaning the model that we want to expose. This is a very nice feature in case we are working with, for example, the customized visualizations property, or we want to have custom perspectives for DirectQuery. And if I go here, I see that now we do have the possibility to actually create perspectives. So we'll give it a name, we'll select what are the tables that we want to include, and then we can also include whatever measures or columns we want to create. If I want to add something, I do have the full IntelliSense support, so I can open up the perspective column and I can just type in. So that's something amazing. That's something we won't be able to alter directly in the Power BI desktop before we had this TMDL view.
Okay, it makes it look so simple.
Because I just have like two tables, 2 measures, and 5 columns. But yeah, it's much simpler because we have the IntelliSense support as well. Fernando, I'm going to call it TMDL for the sake of our German friend that supported the creation of it, which is Matthias Dierbach.
He calls it TMDL, doesn't he?
It's easier to pronounce when you're also speaking German.
When you don't speak in German.
When you do speak. So TMDL seems very natural to pronounce it. If I compare it to other German words, that's very natural to pronounce rather than TMDL.
Yeah. Yeah. Matthias pronounces it TMDL, doesn't he? Such a brain on him.
True, Fernando. How would you pronounce it in Spanish? Now we are interested in this.
Yeah. TMDL, yeah. Oh, TMDL.
Exactly. Now, one of the last things, while we were not going to actually look at the full example of it, and I'm going to cheat a bit, is Exactly. Let's do the fact. Because I did created it. I'm just going to copy this select column statement from the DirectQuery view because, like the other Christy, I would like to say we are not lazy, we are just efficient. And I'm going to go back in here and close this one. This was our calendar. We don't need it. This was our model. For the people who work a lot with analyzing Excel, this functionality might be really, really nice because we do look at the details row definition. Whenever we connect from Excel to a semantic model and we play with the pivots around, from the pivots, if we would double click the value, this would open up some details. In here, we can start playing around with the behavior of the details row definition for each measure. So this being said, let me scroll a bit down, close the store, close this one, we'll close the currency, calendar, we don't need it. And I'm missing something out. I'm missing the sales, which was here. I just closed it. On the measure side, let me close the regex. I'm going to just open up and then add the new line, details row definition. And if I do remember correctly, this is going to go into the brackets as well. Or not. Now this I might have messed up. Columns. What did, okay.
So it's suggested row or rows for detail row definition or detail rows.
No, I think I did the mistake on the statement because if let's just remove it, we go back to the IntelliSense. So we know for sure it's rows because he's helping us.
Yeah. No, that's what happens. One too many. So what do we do now? I suppose it matters. Sales quantity is not spelled right, but you're just defining the name.
No, but you teach me this part.
Oh, me.
See?
Ah, you got the same as me. Wins.
Yes, I really like it, to be honest.
It's good.
So, yeah, true. Jack is right. But still, that doesn't really make sense. Because we still need to... Oh.
Not because there's an extra line, is there?
It's a single line, actually. So look. See? I wrote it on a single line, so that's not the issue that he doesn't like. That's an interesting mystery now. Not one that I would have liked it. We're on the model, so this shouldn't be a problem.
Quantity, sales quantity.
So in
True.
Jake's,
Isn't it supposed to be equal?
He
If you
doesn't
put
care about
semicolon
that.
there.
There's no DAX parser. It's complaining about TMDL.
It's just
in
the
Jake's one, he
equal sign.
put, I don't suppose it matters, but there was apostrophes in front of the table. But whether that's because it was it had a space
No.
in between it.
Yeah, exactly. That was just for the special characters. It was the equal sign that was the issue.
Yeah.
So we made it work.
Ah.
Thank you, Jake, for the support today. And like this, we do end up with being able to create it, but the note, I would rather create it in the DirectQuery view, single liner, and then paste it inside of here. The good part is what we didn't actually look at is we do have a very nice format function. So in case I write something for the first time or I just want to format it again, we do have a format command on the top. Which is going to format whatever we do have selected on the screen. So yeah, you can select everything or you can select like bits and pieces of it. Any questions so far? Or actually not so far because we are kind of done.
No, I just first of all have to say huge admiration to you for doing this and sharing your learning with us. So
We did also see some errors. I've also learned something with the model script, with the full model scripting.
Yeah, but Christy, that's what we're going to get when we try. So I'm sure I know Jake's been brilliant at helping, but you've been using it as well, Jake, and like he said, to code live, and to share your learning with us, because no one's going to do this without wanting to, work out how you can go back or forth. I really appreciate this. I haven't seen this at all in.
I think also too, so to add to it, is that it's a relatively new concept.
Yeah.
In any case, and so that's all things that we all learning, and we all going to find new things and find little tips and tricks and things that we think should work and things that don't work. It doesn't matter how many times you can go over this over and over and over. Something, if it doesn't like you, it doesn't like you.
And it's like Jake said and Oliver said, and I will say exactly the same. When you're coding to an audience, the most simple things you forget and you don't see them. And I think Aurora was helping me. Helped me with a beautiful soup thing that I did. Someone did, because I could just see it from sat there, and so, and we learn more by being human and together. So
Always.
Really appreciate that.
Always.
I also find as well is that I learn more when things go wrong. I learn so much more when things go wrong. If everything goes perfectly, it's like, yeah, okay. But, what happens when it goes wrong? And I know it'll go wrong when I'm at home.
Yeah, exactly.
When things go wrong, people start actually paying more attention. Or I could actually maybe contribute something here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I always do. As soon as someone says, "Oh, it wasn't meant to do that," straight away, then I have laser-like concentration.
Yeah.
It's like whispering, or when you want to. I mean, this is phenomenal, really, isn't it? You can change a whole model, but it is quite scary too.
It definitely is.
It's kind of witchcraft, isn't it?
Yeah. Someone put something, there was a question there about shared saving.
Oh, yes, there was a question about version control. Yeah, when you save it on GitHub
yeah.
or version control, do you remove the lineage tag?
No,
No.
because
You wouldn't.
I just replied out of nesting. The correct answer should be I've not tried it out, but I think the moment we are going to remove the lineage ID, I think the CI/CD is going to consider that we removed something and we added something.
Yeah.
Because we do have the lineage tag, which is the unique item, which does the comparison. So the moment one goes away and the new one gets generated, it's like going to be, okay, this went away, this came in.
Okay, yeah. So that's your unique identifier, as it always is with any of these things. That's your unique identifier for everything to be able to work.
So really, I mean, this is critical that you use Git. Only if commit before changes. Yeah, so getting the flow, getting the flow of the the commit and save is critical. So how did you teach yourself, Christy?
I think I watched 2 different sessions. So Rui Romano has one session with Reed on Reed's channel, and I think he also has a longer session on Power BI tips with Mike Carlo.
Oh yeah.
I think those are the main 2 sessions that I've seen initially, and I really, really liked it.
And Tablet Editor, Peter just said Tablet Editor have got a course on TMDL as well. Yeah.
Definitely something to put on the long list we were all talking about in the chat.
Yeah, and Zoe's got some TMDL videos as well.
I'll check it out. I didn't know she had.
Oliver, a long list.
Yeah, but I mean, you've seen today some of the things you can do, and it's definitely something that can speed up your work.
Yes, I think there are some things which are nice and interesting, but you can see the practical implications of this. Of, just speeding up time and changing things. And you've been using PBIR, Jake, because that's the other one, just to be able to set up your template for your report view.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter which one you use for the report format because it's all pretty incomprehensible either way.
Okay.
Unless you're just changing one visual. If you change one visual, it's perfectly clear to see what's going on in the version. If you go and change 2 pages or something, you've got no chance of really figuring out what's in a merge request.
Yeah. Oh.
But at least not going to get, if you go for PBIR, you're less likely to have merge conflicts at least.
Yeah.
Because I think it goes all the way down to separate folders per visual. So even if 2 people are working on the same page, if they change different visuals on the page, be merged, there's not going to be a conflict. There's not going to be 2 changes in the same file.
Okay.
Was it always one file for each visual? I always thought I kept it in mind that it's 1 file for each page.
It's definitely per page. I think it might be down to visual.
Okay. Yeah, then this would definitely help on the commit, on the conflict resolution.
So which one do we all want to do first? Like we've all got these massive lists of what we need to learn. There's a lot of lists.
True.
I think this is probably quite high up on my list.
I encourage it.
Any questions for Christy before we let him go? And any final questions? Insightful, yes, very insightful. Yeah, thank you, Christy. That sort of a bit blown my brain, really, thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Copilot's on the roadmap to come for TMDL view, so just to help people as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think having that view there will help. It's then making sure you've got that. If you open that view, you really do have to be using Git, don't you?
I would suggest doing the SQL BI mastering tabular course because it's really just understanding the TOM model in detail.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Do they go through the whole Git integration? I wouldn't have thought they'd go through that on that, would they?
No, but it's just a different way of viewing the tabular object model. Because regardless of what happens, it all gets turned into JSON eventually. There's within C# library, the TMDL stuff is really just a parser, so it just converts from BIM to TMDL and TMDL to BIM.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, there's lots of I started the mastering tabular and I think I ran out of time. I think I got about halfway through.
Did it expire, or can you still do it?
You can redeem it, I think. You can pay, I think you pay for like 3 years worth of
Right.
Yeah, 3 years. Yes, Takimi, you can. Let me just check. I think I think it's for 3 years, and then you can renew it for a certain length of time.
Yeah, it's 3 years.
Sounds like Takami's being attacked by a snake right now.
She joined my.
She's being constricted.
She joined the session that I did for Turkey on Cyber Monday. That's a good idea, Peter.
Well.
Yeah,
you've got a zoo going soon.
Well, possibly, but I did a session on beautiful soup, and so she joined that course on SQL BI 3 times. Yes. Yeah, I'm not a lecturer anymore. Yes, you are. Yeah, I got 42% of the way through.
Okay.
Mastering tabular.
Wasn't that...
we can also watch that course each and every year again, and we are still going to learn something more from the DAX courses from SQL BI.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes. So a huge thank you, Christy, and to Jake for your support, and for everybody for joining in. And next week we have got we've got David Hanna, who is brilliant, who's going to be taking us through Power BI documentation system. So I'm really looking forward to that. And he's going to give us some methods to actually automate it as much as possible for us. So, Christy, that was brilliant. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, to all of your support. And a well done to Jake for his MVP. Huge congratulations, and not surprised at all. So absolutely thrilled for you. And thank you, everyone. And we will see you all next week, if not before, for Power BI documentation. Let me just stop recording. I'm very disappointed in Fernando.